Hey everybody, give me 2 seconds to get my stuff situated. All right, oh, looks all crooked there. It's straight-ish, right? Yeah, we'll see. Close enough for government work, as they say. Of course, I don't know who they are, but they're saying it. Anyway, welcome to the channel. Today we've got another classic traditional style knife. By the way, hit like, subscribe, comment, tell your friends. I'm trying to grow the channel. Even though I've got detractors because I quote unquote have sinned, and I should be ashamed because I talk positively about Chinese knives. Did a whole video on that that's processing now. Stay tuned for that, my little knife rant. Anyway, today we've got Boker. I'm guessing my dogs are going to start barking. Give it a minute. But in any case, got a new Boker, and it is a slip joint. I got it off of Amazon, and we're going to see if we like it. I've been on a traditional knife kick. I still got all my Spydercos and Heretics and all my cool tactical knives and my Swiss Army knives and all that stuff. But I don't know. I go through these spells, right, where I've got, oh, there's another Boker in my pocket, my Cattleman. Yeah, I'm liking traditional knives. So I was like, you know what? I've had a bunch of different Bokers. I don't know that I've had a Boker Stockman. So comes in a nice little box. I think I paid like $46 on Amazon. Now it says Boker Tree on it. It's got the Boker logo, but I don't know if this one is made in Germany. We'll look at the tang stamp, or if this is one that they have made in China. Boker has a couple different places that they manufacture. And there's the dogs. Anyway, so a little smaller than I would have liked. I like the 4 1/4 inch size Stockman. So that's the first thing. I thought it said 4 1/4, but I could be wrong. Already out of the gate, I can tell you one thing that overall, I mean, I think it's going to be a good knife. But one thing I don't like about Bokers, and I don't know why they are this way, their nail nicks are very shallow. And this edge right here, see like the edge coming in is at an angle, like it's gradual. This top edge is not at a 90-degree angle. It doesn't come straight up from the blade. It's not perpendicular to 90 degree. It's canted that way. So it's shallow, but it's also angled. So your thumbnail can slide off it very easily. So a lot of times with the Bokers, you have to press really hard. And right now my nails are probably longer than they normally are. And so it's working. But a lot of times I go to use it and I can't physically grab it. I have to try to pinch the blade. And sometimes you don't have enough to pinch. And I actually sit there for 30 seconds trying to open the blade. That is my biggest problem with Bokers, is that they have not nailed the nail nick. If you got long, thick fingernails, but when you get right out of the shower, right? If you were washing your hands and so, you know, your hands temporarily, your thumbnails, your nails get soft, you know, from the water, especially hot water, I can't open the goddamn knives. So that annoys me out of the gate, but I can get it open. Not a lot of blade play. Not very big. This is on the small side. I was hoping, I thought it said 4 1/4. I'll have to look at the whatchamacallits again. So this is like their medium Stockman. I was hoping for the large one. Maybe that's why this one was cheaper. So this one does say Boker. It doesn't say on that blade where it's made. Now the Tree brand is normally a knife made in Germany, in Solingen. And stainless steel, high carbon stainless steel. Nothing on that blade. Let's go to the third blade, which should be the Wharncliffe. And all it says is high carbon stainless steel. Now, I thought in order to import knives, they had to have some sort of tang stamp of the country of origination. And it doesn't have that. And all the Solingen Germany ones I have do have that. That being said, if this one is made in China, the blade action seems good. I don't appear to be getting any blade wrap. Blade wrap, if you don't know, is where, if you don't have like what Rough Rider does, where they put a stop pin to hit that part of the blade, when it snaps shut, if it's really snappy, which that is, that's a good spring. That's nice walk and talk, as they say. The blade can over travel from the inertia of the blade slamming shut. It'll go the other way a little bit and it'll hit that piece of metal that's down in there where there's a hump. in the spring, because the spring's fairly thin, except where the pin goes through to hold it, they had to add more material. So if you looked at it from this way, it'd be like flat and then a hump and then flat again. Where that hump sticks up, it can actually smack into the blade. So far, that does not appear to be happening. So that's good. If it does, don't sit there and try. Well, I mean, you have to sharpen to fix the blade, but don't sit there and do what they say. Well, just keep removing material until it doesn't hit anymore. That's bullshit. Find a small piece of leather and wedge it down in there. So, it's a nice little knife. It's kind of small. I don't know how often I will actually carry this thing, but it is very nice. I will say the bone, it's like a black jigged bone. The transitions are nice. I don't feel any gaps. There's no snags, no proud pins. Those are actually put together really well. The little shield there, nicely down there and embedded, sits pretty flush, doesn't catch or anything like that. The other side feels the same. Yeah, I mean, looking at the fit and finish on it, it's actually very, very nice. I just kind of wish it was bigger, giggity. But as a small little gentleman's knife, I mean, it's okay. It's good for opening little packages, but I look at like things like the Rough Rider Reserve. You know, I got a larger hand. It's nice to have a big knife you feel like you could get in there and work with. This is going to be a bit more delicate, so I'll have to go and see if I can find one of these in the larger size. But the spay blade seems reasonably sharp. The edges look good. The grind looks good. The polish looks good. No real blade wobble on that end, like at all. Little flex in the blade because it's a thin blade, so that's good. You know, with the case knives, you open them up and half the time they got excessive blade wobble. This one, well, it's using the same as that. No blade wobble. So that's good. Overall, the build quality here, I'm actually kind of impressed with. It's a nicely made little knife. It's just a bit on the small side. Do a size comparison here. We're talking about a closed length of 4 inches. Yeah, the extra 1/4 inch makes a big difference. It's like 3 7/8. Just about, yeah, I'm gonna call it 4 inches. The main blade is 3 inches, but the cutting is like 2 5/8. So it's not a tiny knife, but it's definitely on the smaller side. But it's very nice. It's got a really nice clip point, no real swedge, but really sharp, stabby little point. That's nice. Edge feels decent out of the box. Yeah, cuts reasonably well. Even does a push test, not bad. Let's try the other blades, because that's what I found on the Rough Rider was, yeah, spay blade, also sharp. Doesn't quite do the push test, but still reasonably sharp. I can strop that real quick and probably make it just a little bit nicer. Then we'll go to the, yeah. And that one does do a push test. So out of the box, it's reasonably sharp, far better than the case knives at a cheaper price. I wish I knew, I'm gonna guess and say this is one of the ones made in China. Just because of the price and the fact that it doesn't have on the blade. Normally when you get a Boker, you're gonna have that right there. Boker Solingen. The German ones, they're very proud. They always put it on the tang that I've seen. Quality-wise, comparing one to the other, you could tell that this one's a cheaper knife, but it doesn't feel like a cheap knife. This is a $220 knife, right? So N960 or N690 steel, curly birch. This is a much more expensive knife. This one doesn't feel that substantial or like that, but honestly, like really it is a nice knife. The polish is good. I'm gonna give this a thumbs up. I would say on a scale of like, 1 to 10, a 10 being like a Jack Wolf knife or something, really high end like that. I'm gonna give this like a 7. It feels really good. And I put this up there like an 8.5 or a 9. Definitely the Solingen one is better, but it also costs 5 times as much. So is it 5 times as good? I don't know. But that's really, really nice. See if we can get to zoom in on some of the details. That is not a bad little knife. I'll give this a quick strop just to take maybe a little bit of toothiness off of that, and just make sure the edges are straight. But it's well done. The action's good. The snap on all the blades is good. They don't have any half stops. Well, at least that one doesn't. Let's see. Does the main blade? No, no half stops on any of the blades. What I like about the Stockman is I like the curve of the handle. It flows nice with your hand. And having 3 different blades for 3 different purposes, you know, this is going to be good for maybe general cutting and certainly stabbing and things. But if you were doing some small skinning or something where you needed to do some slicing, but you didn't want to pierce it accidentally and poke a hole in something and rupture it or ruin it, if it's leather or whatever it might be, the splayed blade is good. And then, of course, you got the little sheep's foot or Warncliffe. I guess it's more of a sheep's foot blade. So if you're just doing simple draw cuts, you got that utility knife shape. It's nice having different blades for different purposes so that whatever you're cutting, you have a blade that is designed to excel at that type of cutting. But then you've also got different blades. So if one dulls or snaps or breaks or whatever, you have redundancy built in. You know, that's why I do like trappers. Trappers are nice. Here's my queen cutlery. This one's a bit big. I do wish it was just a little bit smaller, but I do carry this sometimes. But I've got a nice, good knife for food prep or stab, you know, whatever I've got to do with that knife. And then if it dulls or something happened to it, it's like, okay, well, I now have a backup knife without having to carry a separate knife in my pocket and have them banging around. I can have one knife in my pocket. Same thing with my GEC. You got your nice stabby, slicey blade that's good for things where you might want to poke a hole in, but then when you don't, you want to be a little more careful, then you've got that kind of blade for those types of cuts. So size-wise, you know, it's probably the smallest knife here. It's a little longer, but it's a little thinner than the GEC. Weighs a little bit less as well. And then compared to all these other ones that I have, which are considerably bigger, we've got the Rough Rider, Denim, Swell Center, Whittler, I believe it is. We got a Case Trapper that I believe is the 4 1/4 inch size, which is what I think I'm going to want to get in one of these. Got my Queen here, got my Boker Cattleman. This is the big boy Trapper. And then I got my GEC. So it's on the smaller side, but some of you won't mind that. Some of you want just a small little pocket knife for whittling and opening boxes and something like what your granddad used to carry. You got just a simple tree brand on the blade. This is a very nice little knife. I can see myself carrying this when I want to go discreet, where I want something smaller than this. I want something maybe even just a little smaller than that, that really does not look intimidating in any way. It's fairly thin, it's light. You just need a nice little pocket knife that won't attract undue attention or anything like that. I think this is perfect. I think if you're going camping or you're just working out in the yard or something, and you just need a general purpose little knife. You're not worried about really stabbing into something where you want that locking kind of safety, or if you live in a country where you can't carry that, or in a state that doesn't allow locking knives to be carried, you know, it's a pocket knife. But for $46, it's a good German brand. They have a good warranty. They're a good company to deal with. They've been around for hundreds of years. Some of their knives are still made in the same plant they've been making in since, I don't know, 16 or 1700s or some crazy shit. I mean, it's like Beretta. It's one of like those old companies that's just been around forever. And Boker has. And even if this is made in China, they've got the right materials and they've got the quality control seems on point. I hesitate. I will not buy Case knives sight unseen. I want to play with them, see the blade play, fit and finish. There's no blade rubbing. Whenever I've bought a Case Stockman out of the box, I had a couple that were okay, but every single one of them had scuffs on the blades because they were rubbing. Here, they're not. That's a nice knife. This blows away any of the Case ones that I've had. And those are usually around $60 to $75. $46. I'll put a link in the description. Big thumbs up. I like that a lot. I wish it was bigger. I'm going to look around for the next size up, but can't go wrong with that. Anyway, folks, try to keep that quick, under 15 minutes. We'll talk to you guys next time.